Hey bike farmers, thanks for clicking in. We got ourselves a big project today. This is a very cool TIG welded in Waterloo, Wisconsin, made in the USA, Trek 970 mountain bike. Now the 970 was towards the top of the line. It's one of the last TIG welded steel bikes made, I think, here in the United States, or at least up in Waterloo. It looks like it's got True Temper OX comp tubing. Looks to be in somewhat decent shape. I got it from a local bike charity, severely discounted, so maybe I'll find something seriously wrong with the thing, but the seat post moved and I bought it. And I have subsequently, off camera, found a seat clamp and seat post for it, just so I could get it up in the stand. But I'm gonna completely strip this thing down and we are gonna rebuild it. I'm gonna put a rigid fork and some CUES componentry, so 9-speed CUES, kind of more of an ATB style build here. I got some V-brakes and levers and a saddle and some kind of more modern looking stem and handlebars for it. We're just gonna give this thing a facelift. Oh yeah, some Maxxis tires, more of a street tire. I really see this thing shaping up to be a bomb around towner. Out on the bike trail, you can go off in the trails if you want. Just a real utilitarian, bomb-proof, lightweight, super cool ATB mountain bike type of build. I'm not even sure what I'm gonna do with it. It's not really in my wheelhouse at my bike shop, but I don't know, maybe somebody out there wants it. And if you do, let me know in the comments. Maybe we can work something out. Yeah, I guess that's enough yapping. Kick back, relax, let's get started on this thing. All right, per the usual, crank the levers down, get the chain and little. And I think we're pretty much replacing everything on this bike. So we're just gonna get to stripping here. Whoa, yikes. Maybe that's what's wrong with it, huh? God, the post just came right off. Look at that. Well, we got ourselves a stripped frame here. A little bit of rust, it's to be expected. It's not too bad though. Here's that brake bridge from the fork. Anyway, let's see what we can do about this chainstay protector here. So I got some goof off here. Whoa, that was way too much. Went right through the rag. You kind of need a lot of it anyway, but so this rag is kind of soaked in the stuff. Actually, I'm glad I used that much. This is gonna work out just fine. It's gonna get close to working out just fine. This is just straight up elbow grease at this point. The stuff on the backside that you can't see is being pretty stubborn. All right, that's pretty good. See, y'all know I like my Behold furniture polish. Here's a good demonstration. I'm even gonna put some on the rag here. Man, this is gonna be a sharp bike. Hey bike farmers, I just wanted to take this lull in the action to let you know how much I appreciate that you've clicked in to watch this video. Now that I've been at it a little bit, I'm starting to learn why everybody's always asking for more. The AdSense money is just barely enough to make it worth starting a channel. If I want to sustain this for the long term, I'm going to need everyone's help. Now don't get me wrong, your attention is enough. Don't feel obligated to give more, but I've tried to make it as easy as possible. You can always click the super thanks, that's the heart with the $sign in the middle of it, or consider a monthly membership. The monthly membership will give you a little star next to your name, and if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments. I'll see the star, and when I see it, I'll definitely give you an answer. You'll also have access to a little more behind the scenes action that non-members can't see. With all that said, thank you so much, and let's get back to some bikes. Oh, dropped her egg. I like that. You know, that's the handcraftedness of it. The Trek dropouts and it's cool. I'm gonna squirt some Tri-Flow in these water bottle screws just to kind of keep rust at bay. I don't know how much that really helps. I know there's a more thorough way of doing that. And they actually make products, Frame Saver and such. A lot of people use T9, but I have Tri-Flow, and this is an old bike that doesn't really have a ton of value. It's a very cool bike, but it's not like it's some multi-$1,000 custom deal. I'm not gonna like chase the bottom bracket or anything here. You know, aside from some surface rust, there's really nothing wrong with the bottom bracket that came on it, and I think it's gonna work. So we're gonna try it. It's a UN51, Shimano UN51, which is a really nice kind of bomb-proof utilitarian bottom bracket. I didn't measure it. Yeah, it's too short. Never mind. Oh, and I really cranked on it. God damn it. And herein come the problems. All right, I'm pretty sure that these CUES cranks ask for a 122.5 millimeter bottom bracket. Sometimes it says on the box, and the box doesn't say anything. And I could Google it, but I'm not smart enough to do those things. That looks like it's gonna work fine. It could be a little shorter, I suppose. But once I crank it on there, it's probably just perfect. What the f***? All right, never mind. It's a 73 millimeter bottom bracket shell, of course. So it's not this bottom bracket. Better? It's a pretty tight fit there, but it's a big chain ring. Now, I'm not sure, this is a 42 tooth chain ring, and we've got a 46 tooth rear cog, which gives us some pretty low gearing. I mean, we're under 1x1, but it's not like crazy low mountain bike gearing. But, you know, this is intended to be a bomb around towner, not a rigid mountain biker. This is a very big and ugly derailleur. So that's what it looks like. And then we'll put on this relatively ridiculous 9-speed gigantic cassette. Now, I should put in the spoke protector. Okay, you know how I feel about these things, but just aesthetically, pure aesthetics on this bike. And it's already, I mean, like the CUES stuff, I gotta say, isn't that good looking? But, you know, I don't think so at least. But if I wanted to match the rest of the bike, and like, you've got this ginormous, I mean, it'll hide back there. I'm doing it. I know, y'all hate me. Why would I do it? It's gonna just disappear back there, and it's gonna help should we have an event. You know, if this ends up being a college bike and it's parked in bike racks, that hanger's gonna get bent and there's gonna be an overshift. You know, they're not gonna see it coming. I just can't help it. Can't stop, won't stop. Huh, I don't know where the lock ring went. This one will work. Oh, found it. Let's use the old one. Why not? Harken back to the good old days. Oh, maybe that's why not. Why isn't it grabbing? Huh. Hold on, is there a spacer or something? It was an 8-speed bike. What's going on? This all looks good so far. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, a couple more things to do here. So I'm also going to convert this to Schrader valve, because again, I think they're more utilitarian. I want this to be a practical bike. And I usually don't drill out rims for Schrader valve. I don't like to do it. But I'm gonna on this one, because it doesn't matter a whole lot. All right. This is as hard as they come. Nothing's easy today. There we go. Poor me. Yeah, this rim tape is toast too. All right, I'm gonna find my valve hole here. Yeah, so the inside of the rim is already drilled to the right size. Jesus, time for a new drill bit. You can also use a reamer. That's kind of a good way to do it. Maybe we'll do that with the front. I don't like how this went. This is why I don't do it. I'm trying to move fast today too. If you haven't noticed, I'm moving a lot quicker than usual. I'm trying to use up the last of my rim tape too, or at least the Velox stuff. Just start using tubeless tape on everything. Kind of makes a lot of sense. But I still have a few strips of this left, so a few rolls. This stuff is actually sticky. All right, we got Maxxis DTH tires here. I've used these on a few bikes. I just kind of picked them up to try them. I like them. I don't know if I love them. Like I wouldn't run them on my own bikes, but really good for something like this, for these conversions I do. Nice and plump. They seem to be pretty durable. Good utilitarian bomb around towners. And I can already tell they're going to be a tight fit. How bad is it going to be? We're about to find out. Well, not too bad. So what I'm doing is I'm pinching all the way around. I'm trying to get both beads as far down into the valley of that rim as possible, because every fraction of a millimeter counts. There we go. It wasn't too bad at all. All right, rear wheel's good. Well, still got to put it up in the touring stand, clean it up. Actually, I probably should have checked these wheels for true before I did all this work. I didn't even look at them. Fingers crossed. Everything's going to be just fine. All right, I found my last rim tape here. A really nasty one, but better than what we took out. It's my last 16 millimeter. I got a bunch of the 19 millimeter stuff that I'll probably die with. Yeah, it's coming unstucky already. And it'll be fine once we get the tire and tube in there. Oh, I forgot to drill this one out too. Yeah, that thing's useless. All right. Not sure when I lost audio. I gotta switch up my microphone situation. It's about time I get a grip on this situation. Okay, thank God. The rear wheel is just fine. There's a couple tiny little spots to tweak here, but nothing that's raising any alarm. The hubs feel like they're adjusted properly. Maybe a little loose, but we'll see once we get it on the bike. The quick release cam will squish it all together. So when you adjust a hub, you do want it just a little bit loose on these quick release wheels. Some are softer than others. These are Quando hubs, which are just kind of a generic Taiwanese thing. Nothing fancy. They are a disc brake hub. They're a 6-bolt disc brake hub, so for what that's worth, if you ever end up with a 26-inch disc brake bike and want to do some wheel swapping, you could do that here. Highly unlikely scenario. Use a little power wash on this rim just to clean it up. This rag already had some tack on it, so it was able to pick up a lot of the dust. There's a little bit of grunge going on here that we can clean up quick with some power wash and a little bit of elbow grease. Well, that one's good. Kind of in a rush right now because the bike shop's about to open in a half hour, and I want to get this bike to the point where I pretty much have all the parts on it so I can set it aside and I'll finish it in the morning. You know, I gotta say, the comments are getting to me, and that's something I can work on. I'm not blaming you guys for it, but it's a lot of negativity, a lot of people that feel the need to call me out on stuff and say I'm ripping people off or I don't know what. But I got one this morning while I was having my morning constitutional, and it was, well, I was talking about putting pounds of air in the tires, you know, like pounds is shorthand for pounds per square inch, PSI. But they felt like, you know, it was important enough to let me know that it was pounds per square inch was the proper units. And they were like, no, it's nitpicking. And then they were like, oh yeah, and by the way, stop asking for money. You know, stop e-begging for more money. And you know, their argument is that I'm already making money on these bikes. I don't need to make money off the channel. And oh boy, you know, I don't mind being called out if it's like if there's a factual basis for it. And I guess there's a factual basis for the PSI thing, right? But it's like, the assumption is that I didn't know that versus the assumption that I was just using shorthand. That's what bothers me, is, you know, it's a complete lack of respect. And most of you are very respectful, I know that. But back to the money. It's true, I make money on this channel. And it's true that I'm doing it for the money. And it's true that I want to make a living doing it. And a better living than I've been making. Because it's great that I'm able to work on bikes for a living and I have a wonderful life and don't really need more, but I sure could use it. Like, you know, I'm self-employed. I don't have, you know, health insurance, a 401k, and, you know, all the benefits of a corporate job like many people do. And so the money really is important. And so we do have to ask for it. And there are things like super thanks and memberships and ways for you to support these channels that you watch. And it's important that you do so. Luckily, I was on the toilet when I was responding to that guy. And then I was like, man, you know, that comment and what was in the toilet were so similar. So there, how's that for begging, e-begging for money? No, it's true. Those $5, $10 super thanks every month, you know, it adds up, ends up being a few $100 at the end of the month. That's great. Love it. So thank you. And really, it's true. Your attention is all that's required here. You know, advertisers are paying for your attention. I don't need to be asking for more, but we don't make enough on the AdSense money. It's just not that much money for the amount of work. That's the other thing is, you know, this bike, this is a long project. This will take me a few hours, and it's a lot of footage, and it takes a lot longer to set up the camera angles. You know, there's a lot that goes into gathering the footage, and then it's editing. It takes 2 or 3 times more time to edit these videos than it does to actually fix the bikes. You know, the thought that I'm like making money on the bike anyway and that there's no effort involved in making these videos is absolutely absurd. It's way harder to make the videos than it is to fix the bikes. A lot more time, otherwise everybody'd be doing it. I just happen to like it. I find it to be a creative outlet. A while back, I mentioned this in other videos, but I was asked to like kind of find what my core values were in like some corporate thing I was doing. Anyway, and it came down to authenticity and creativity. And I can't think of a better way than to share my skill set in a creative way. And just be as honest as I can and straightforward. And you guys kind of get me warts and all and know who I am. And you know, I'm not hiding anything. I'm not ripping anybody off. I'm an open book. I'll tell you what I got into it. And then you can decide if you think it's worth it or not. And a lot of you are like, it's not worth it. You know, or you're ripping them off. It's too much in labor. I don't know. And for a long time, I didn't share, you know, how much I was charging or whatever, because I didn't want to hear it from people. And frankly, I don't. But I think this is there are eyelets in this rim, and I just dropped lube on each one of them, on these nipples in the rim, and then when I did that thing there with the ding, 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 I'm just agitating things to allow the lube to kind of sit down in there. Basically, I'm thinking of the next guy. It doesn't really help me or the customer a whole lot. It's just the next guy that has to true this wheel. Things will be moving a little more freely. Anyway, I can't remember where I was in my rant, but you know, for those of you that come at me in the comments, calling me a rip-off artist or telling me what to do or feeling like you have some sort of authority just because you view the channel, y'all can get stuffed. But those of you that come at me with helpful comments, respectful, like, hey, I saw what you were doing there, but I've done this and it's worked, or whatever, thank you very much. That helps us all. That's how we build community. We don't build community by tearing down content creators, people. We're all out here doing the best we can with what we got. And, you know, if you don't like it, watch something else. Okay, off camera, I put the crown race on this fork. I just did a video showing that whole process, so those of you following along at home have seen that recently. Thought I didn't need to repeat that, and I was waiting for the microphone batteries to charge back up. Anyway, I cleaned the headset and greased everything, and it's time to reassemble things here, like here. And oh, just barely not enough spacer here. We're gonna put a silver one down there. That doesn't look bad. And then there's still some grease for the threads in there. Now this fork used to be green, and I rattle canned it a while back for a different project that didn't work out. So I've been looking for a good project for it. I have new forks, but axle to crown measurement was way too short on it. So I'm glad I found this one in the bins because it works out good. And then I found this stem in my bin too. And it's pretty short, but I think that's gonna be okay as well. I have a longer one if, you know, the customer wants it, but just because I want this to kind of be a little more upright, and I just want this bike to kind of have a smaller feel to it. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just my gut's telling me that. That's a pretty good little headset fork install. Okay, brand new Dimension mountain bike handlebar here. Nothing fancy, just a good old-fashioned black aluminum handlebar. Nice and wide, very modern looking and feeling. You know, I'm not doing the whole, you know, lots of sweep, upright, typical bike farmer thing here. This is gonna be a little sportier, a little more something else. Okay, got the 9-speed CUES shifter, some brand new Tektro levers. setup for V-brakes, and I also have some cheapo Amazon V-brakes I'm gonna put on. Just some basic $10 grips. We're just gonna hairspray them on, Suave, max hold. We're just gonna kind of guess on the angles here. Pretty good, pretty good. Eyeball things here. Oh, dropped my wrench. I generally have better luck working over on this side anyway. I just don't know why I don't. Ooh, shiny and new. Okay, so like I mentioned, I bought these V-brakes from Amazon not too long ago. I just wanted some cheapo V-brakes for another project. Oh, that's totally wrong. All right. And, you know, they're fine. They're good enough for who it's for. I don't have any cool, I mean, this bike should get some like cool black Shimano V-brakes. I just don't have any in the bins. This is what I got. You know, the wheels have Quando hubs, so it's fine to have some other cheapo stuff on here, I guess. And it's the cheapest CUES stuff too. You know, it's not like we're going real high end with any of this. But these are gonna work great. And if somebody wants to upgrade on some level, they can. You know, these are gonna work great. It's definitely good enough for who it's for. I mean, it's really one of those things, it's like, brakes are so easy. It's an easy DIY thing. If somebody's really picky about it, it'd be super easy for them to slap some different brakes on here. We'll set it all up for them. Think of them as placeholder brakes for now. So here's the seat post that I found in my bins. And I liked it because it was black. I'm just kind of smearing the leftovers here around. And then something struck me about this saddle. It just looks really comfortable. Looks, I don't know. I had this saddle in my bin and I don't know, it's, I don't like the orange on it. It doesn't really match, but I think it's a very comfortable saddle and I think it's gonna be super comfortable with, I don't know, I just have a hunch about how it's gonna be the right saddle for this bike once we get it set up. So if it's not, we can swap it out, but this is the one I grabbed. I like it because it's nice and cushioned, but it's not super wide. So for a bombing around and, you know, without padded shorts, it just seemed like a really good saddle to have. I don't love it, but I certainly don't hate it either. Okay, let's turn it into a bicycle. And Eli just showed up to start his shift. You know, Eli's the guy that built the DIY Goner iBike, the giant Rincon. And then I hired him because I liked his build. He's been great. All right, bike farmers. I have to open the bike shop. I'm gonna put this to rest and I'll see you in the morning. Okay, here we are. This is actually 2 days later. I have about an hour to finish this bike. We gotta do the chain, pedals, cut some housing, string it all up, adjust it, take her for a test ride. So let's get going. Now without Googling, I believe that these CUES drivetrains can work with any 11-speed chains. They have their own chains, and I'm not sure, I can't remember what they're called, but it's a Link Glide, LG, Link Glide, Shimano Link Glide chains. And I had one, but I used it on a different bike. And so I'm gonna put on this KMC 11-speed chains. I'm gonna put on this KMC 11-speed chain. Yeah, I use these X11s, these KMC X series chains, X8, X9, X10, you know, they're great. Quite a bit cheaper. I think, well, Shimano makes their own chains, but KMC makes chains for other brands too. And then I'm just gonna leave it the length that it is. I know that, well, actually, there is a way to set this up properly, and I'd have to Google it. I do think I want to take a couple of links out. I'm going to take a few links out. I'm going to take 3 out. No, I'm not. I'm going to leave it, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, there's a proper way to do this. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I have always sized chains where I put it in little and little, and then just made sure that you've got some tension on that rear derailleur so things aren't flapping around. So this is short enough and long enough, but probably too long. Oh, dropped a quick link. I'm really kind of struggling right this second here. Dropped it. These are slippery little buggers, I guess. Okay. So I've got some basic nylon platform pedals here. These are super cheapo. I got a whole bunch of them. Some sort of weird, you know, post-pandemic sale. You know, supply chains got all messed up, so there was a few times there where there was some overstock and I was able to capitalize on getting some good stuff. I picked up a whole bunch of these pedals for super cheap. And they're good enough for who they're for. I'm just gonna get these brake pads in a good spot here. You guys may have seen in my last videos, I kind of gone on a rant about towing brake pads and about how I always like them to fit or to hit flat. And I continue to do that here. So you can see I take that spring out, then I don't have to, my thumb's not fighting against the tension of the spring. I think these will work fine. Okay, so I found a piece of housing over on my bench, and I'm gonna start with the rear brake housing. So I'm putting it in its happy home cable stop back here, and then turning the bars, and I don't want it quite pinching, so I know it's gonna be about that long. And I cut it with the side cutters. You can see there's a little burr on the end of it, and you can kind of pull it aside with your side cutter and then send it flying across the room. Poke an eye out. And clean. And then I further clean things up with a poker tool, which is just a sharpened spoke. I've got a bunch of them, you know, but, and then a couple of ferrules. Mia ferrule. Right? Whoa. And our shifter came with a length of housing as well. This is nice Shimano housing. We're gonna set that up the same way. Just kind of max it out to the extreme. Max out to the extreme. And then you use, I have the Hosan cutters, which is my absolute favorite. I just use the poker tool to kind of open things up best we can. And then this is 4mm housing. So you have these black plastic ferrules, which are fine. You can use fancier ferrules if you want. I use the fancy ferrules on my own bikes, but it's a little extra. The cable is a coated cable. So these systems are designed to not use lubrication. And you'll see in the comments, if you read them, which I'd highly suggest not reading comments ever. It's kind of annoying, but a lot of people claim that lubricating cable and housing, all it does is attract dirt and makes things worse. It's not entirely true. There's some validity to that argument, I suppose, but in this case, since it's a coated cable and a lined housing and it's designed this way, we're not going to lubricate it, because why introduce the variable and give the commenters any edge? We don't want that. And that's what YouTube is all about. It's us versus them. It's the creators versus the commenters. And as a creator, I feel it's my duty to discourage comments at all costs. That's why I never say anything controversial or express my own personal opinions that might go against the grain a little bit. I just kind of try to keep it really neutral and fair and easy to avoid any kind of engagement at all in my comment section. Okay, we got some Wubba donut. Yeah. I'm gonna put the Wubba donut on the cable. It keeps it from going rappity-tappity on the top tube. Okay. String that one up. Ooh, that's good. That's a good length of housing right there. Whoo-wee! So this is an interesting length here as well. I actually have to cut a little bit of that. It's just gonna be a short guy. Yeah. Pop these ferrules on there. I feel like this might be a little long. We'll find out here in a second. Yeah, see, I'm really struggling. Yeah, it doesn't need to be that long, so we'll cut a little off. Did I cut it too short now? No, because it'll go like that. Boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna do two things here. First of all, right now the derailleur is as relaxed as it possibly can be, and we're in the second to the highest gear. I'm gonna back out this limit screw. Well, that's going to relax the derailleur out this way. Okay, and I can hear it making a little bit of noise. I think I went a little too much. Turn it in a smidge. Hear that? Turn it in till it's pretty quiet. Yeah. So we just adjusted the low limit. I'm sorry, we just adjusted the high limit. I don't know if you can see that, but the cable goes all the way around on this derailleur. I just had a terrible camera angle, and I think you missed all that, but sorry. I got this all hooked up and ready to go. I'm just turning the barrel adjuster out, tightening that cable. I stretched it a little bit. Okay, and that's as far as it wants to shift up. And that's because the low limit screw is turned all the way in here from the factory. So we're gonna back this out a bit. All right. So this is a B limit screw here, and that'll adjust the angle of the derailleur. And I'm just gonna add a little bit more clearance there. I think these derailleurs are pretty sensitive to that adjustment. It seemed a little slow coming back down the chain or the cassette. All right, so this is not working well at all. I may look into this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, hey, thank God for that spoke protector. So we're gonna take our low limit screw here and just turn it in. Here, I'll show you actually. You can see mechanically what's going on here. Look right there. Okay, see how that's moving? If you turn this screw in till it just barely touches and then work your lever again, you can get it there. See how it's not able to move anymore. All right. All right, like a fool and a dummy, I looked up Shimano's suggestions here and I decided to work smarter, not harder. And what they told me to do is go big and big without the derailleur involved, okay? And what we're doing here is determining the 0 point of the chain. So this would be the 0 point. Then we gotta add 4 links. So this would be the 0 point, and then 4 links plus the quick link. So 1, 2, 3, and the quick link. So I might be a link short with this chain actually, which kind of sucks. So maybe I will add, let's add 4 or 5. I did confirm that 11-speed chain is the right chain. Yeah, front single, hardtail bike, quick link. Okay, I'm gonna add a couple of links here. Okay, so now that feels like the chain is too long. But if I put it up into that gear, then we can go around back. Now this is really hard to see, but there is a gauge back here. And if we adjust our B screw, get it just exactly perfect, which I think I just did. It was really hard to do with a tripod in my way. What does that say? 44 and then 41 tooth. Okay, it's gotta go a little bit more. So just to clarify, there's little lines that say 44 and 41 tooth right there, and there's like a millimeter difference between the two. Okay, so now we're in the little cog. Our cable is somewhat tight. This feels like the chain is a little long. Okay, it's working better. Man, this is finicky. What a tough setup. Man, I am not sure about this CUES stuff. So I'm gonna take 1 link out because I think the chain is 1 link too long. I think it was 0 point plus 4, and I set it up 0 point plus 5. Man, this has been a fiasco. But I'm learning something, as we do. Okay, so now I feel like we've got a little bit of tension here. Got to recheck my B-limit spot here. Where's B-limit? Here we go. B-limit screw. I'm not exactly sure what to align it with. That looks to be good, if I'm guessing. Now it's a matter of cable tension. Which I think is just a smidge tight. Now I think it's a smidge loose. All right, well, we're gonna call that good enough for who it's for. Feels pretty good. It's a little sluggish, but very passable. All right, now that that fiasco's completely over, and again, I didn't give myself enough time this morning to do this, so Technically, the bike shop just opened up, and it's really weird making this video with Eli sitting right next to me, petting Gregor. Here we go. All I gotta do is set up these brakes. It's only gonna take a second. Right? I never did find a length of housing for the front brake. This one looks pretty good. I just found this on the bench. I'm just gonna use it as is. So these cables are stainless, and I am using nice housing, but we're still gonna lube it because I like lubricated brake cables. I like my brakes to feel snappy. And these super high quality, amazing Amazon V-brakes came with brand new noodles and boots that are also of the highest quality. So that's nice. All right, we already got our pads aligned. So that's easy work. I mean, hopefully they're still aligned. Seems like things do drift and get a mind of their own when you're setting things up from new. A little bit of a brake tension or a spring tension adjustment. I am still on the struggle bus this morning, folks. Thank God Eli's here to fix bikes today, because I'm done touching bicycles once I get this thing done. Although I did just look at it from afar and it is gorgeous. Center things here. Find ourselves a little bit of an equilibrium. Looks pretty good. Feels good. It's pretty nice. Don't forget your wubbity-dubbity. Since we're not using a front derailleur, we can use this cable stop from the front derailleur, and we can use that to set up our V-brake or linear pull brake. And I think that piece of housing is a little longer than I want. Aesthetically, it's just gonna bother me, so. Just give it a quick little snip and put her back in. Ooh, there's some pretty gross earwax coming out of that noodle. A little tight, little cable out. Oh, not that much. A little more though. Ah, man. Part of the problem with these cheap V-brakes is the setting them up. They're just not gonna work as well, you know? They do the job. They're okay. You know, it's like with anything. You buy the higher quality stuff, it's easier to set up, easier to maintain, but it costs more to replace. And this is what I had laying around, so. We got a major pad issue on this other side here. There we go. See this rust? Yuck. Get these bottle screws back on, they're freshly greased. I'm not a big fan of these button head 3mm bottle screws, but that's what the bike came with. These two over here on the seat tube are original to the bike. I replaced the other ones, mostly because I dropped one and it bounced into the abyss. But this bike is way too cool for any sorts of silliness like hydration. This would be a good bike to dehydrate on. I'm gonna put a little drop of lube down in there just to keep the rust at bay. Wondering if anybody has noticed that. Look at that. Look at, I mean, the hub's on backwards. I'd have to like take that tire off, flip everything around, flip the skewer around, reinstall it, readjust the brakes. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna leave it just to prove a point. Disc brakes are stupid. All right, for those of you wondering, this would be called an 18-inch in its day. That's 18 inches center to center. And center to center, we have about a 22.5-inch top tube. I don't know, is that a medium or a large? This bike turned out really good. I think it's very sharp. I think it's gonna be a blast to ride. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go take this thing for a little bit of a test ride. Yeah. This thing is super fun. Yeah, it works great. It's a size too small for me, unfortunately, but for somebody that's 5'10" or something like that, 5'8", 5'10", put the seat down a little bit, it's so good for bombing around. I keep looking for the kickstand. I'm not gonna put one on it. So good, so good. Plenty of low gear. Yeah, I could get up any hill. And then you got a 4211. I mean, that's a 35-mile-an-hour gear. Very fun project. Really cool, really cool, really cool. Steel bike frame. You know, it's really fun to take these old mountain bikes and find some parts and kind of convert them into something a little more modern, a little more fun, something a little more spry. And this really couldn't have turned out a whole lot better. I mean, certainly better brakes, better tires, better wheels, you know, better parts. But for what I had laying around, you know, you get going enough, if you make this a hobby or even a small little side hustle or something, you end up with parts laying around, and you can do this. When you come across a really cool bike, make it your own. If this was a size bigger, I'd keep it. Anyway, if you watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. Your attention means a lot to me. Give it a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. Consider a monthly sustaining membership right here in YouTube through YouTube memberships. That's a nice little guaranteed income for me that I can depend on, and as I build this channel and this life as a YouTuber, that's how we make it in this world. And or, you know, just a one-time super thanks. Those always feel good. You know, I'm creeping up on lunchtime here. It sure would be nice to have $5 for a taco. But for yourself, you know, what you want to do is click that notification bell so you and your bike can stay tuned.